One of my favorite quotes is by General George Patton. He said, "The measure of a man is not how high he gets, but how far he bounces off the bottom." And I love that. Welcome, everybody, to the Warrior Podcast. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Ruby Lewis. Her story will be unlike any that you've ever heard. Definitely a roller coaster of life. We're going to talk about love, relationships, addiction, jail, and the road to the comeback. And with that said, Ruby Lewis, welcome to the Warrior Podcast.
How's it going?
So we did a little precursor. I couldn't keep up, so we're gonna try and go through your life, starting with childhood, kind of quickly, and then talk about your mom a little bit.
I was born in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and to my mother, Connie Deloy, and Ben Lewis. They were both 23, and I don't remember living there. And then we must have went to Fort Devens, Massachusetts, which is now Fort Ayers, and don't really remember much of that either. And she took off at some point when me and my brothers, I had 5 other siblings. I had 2 half-sisters and a younger brother who was a biological brother. My dad was in Germany, and my mom had taken off. And a neighbor had noticed like a weekend, so they called CPS and got my dad back and a bunch of stuff I don't remember, thank God.
All right, so let's backtrack a little bit. So your mother, when she met your father, was pregnant.
Yes.
With somebody's baby that wasn't your father's.
Right.
And she had 2 children prior to that with 2 other fathers.
Yeah. So okay. I guess it's different strokes for different folks, really.
Yeah.
And I'm not always like, couldn't have a dad, like, really? I thought you had sense.
That's so interesting because my uncle Angelo married a woman that had 4 sons who was divorced. And this is way back in, like, I think the 60s.
Did it work out?
Yes and no. I mean, they stayed together forever, but it wasn't the perfect relationship. They tried to have kids together, but they couldn't. But I'm a man, right? And I don't understand the logic of a man wanting to get involved with a woman who's with her 3rd child with 3rd guy.
I don't either.
That would scare me.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I'm like, what are you really after? I know I have 4 kids. Life's not fair, but I want to be with a man that's attractive for one, but don't want kids. Sorry, I have kids. They're not going to call you daddy. But, I would like you to just be nice looking and not want kids. Treat me nice.
Okay, well, at least you're honest about nice looking. All right, so your dad marries the woman with 2 kids, 1 on the way. That kid is born.
Yes.
Right? And then what point do they start having kids together? One of them being you, yes?
Yes, but my dad will tell you this, and he's told me. When they had me, they're like, we'll be back next year, because they wanted a boy, which I think I've been more of a boy than my own brother has been. So, yeah. So really they got lucky. And then they had my brothers because they were like, hey, it's a boy, so I guess we'll call it good. My dad does have a photo album of my mom, but I know literally nothing much of her. We look exactly alike, and I can only think like, wow, looks really go a long ways for some people. And I get it too, but it just flabbergasts me. Like, I wouldn't let it be my sole decision to, like, make yourself make sense, Dad. What was attractive about that whole scenario? But he got us.
Right, that's true. So your mother left when you guys were how old?
I was almost 3, and my brother he had to have been under 1.
Okay, and then the
other one's, the oldest was 7. My sister, Stephanie.
Your
My half-sisters. We have the same mom.
Oh, your half-sisters, that's right. Yep. I'm sorry. But your stepbrother, the youngest, the one that was, when she was pregnant?
Yeah, he passed away from choking on a balloon when he was just under a year.
And this was under your father's watch?
Yes.
And that did
not go well with my dad. I mean, you can tell the panic he gets at birthdays. from like little kids having balloons. So like when we would have parties, we just kind of like make sure the balloons are somehow different, because I can only imagine the guilt of thinking you killed your kid. That's not your kid, but you took it on like it was. Like I will say that for my dad. He took on even his stepkids the same way. So I mean, I'm kind of shocked that they were able to do that, because you don't see that often, to blend two families like that.
Yeah, that's tragic. So that kind of happened when you were real little, so you didn't really kind of witness that too much. You don't remember any of that. Then what happened to your mom?
My bad.
Where did life take her?
Well, when I was 13, my dad had pulled me in a room and said, hey, we were living out in Eckerman. He goes, I just want to let you know that I just got word from your Aunt Crystal, because that's who took us in. I'm sorry, I missed that part. Down in my Aunt Crystal and Uncle Pete down in Indian River had taken us in until they got my aunt to move up. They had like a game plan. My dad and my aunt were going to raise their kids together, and it just was what it was. Even if it looked weird, so what? They were just trying to like make things work. So when I was 13, he was already with my stepmom. I know I'm confusing right now, but he pulled me into a room and said, your biological mom overdosed. Are you interested in going to the funeral? I was like, no, not to be an asshole, but I never knew her.
Your mom didn't take part in your life at all after she left?
None.
And then where did she go when she left?
All over the place, I guess. They found her on some old lady's couch. And I tried looking up like her obituary, because my kids have questions. They're just like, does she look like you? Do we look like her? You know, it's her biological grandma. And I was telling him, it doesn't make me heartless, but how can I have feelings towards someone I never met? But I'm grateful she didn't terminate me.
Yeah, it's a good perspective.
I just don't have any like boo-hoo moments.
Yeah, and I understand. There's nothing wrong with that. Wow, it almost seems like right out of the gate, your mom
set the pace.
She was a loose cannon, right? I mean, I would talk to you about my mom. She was a loose cannon, but you know, again, I don't know, what was your dad thinking? Maybe is your dad still with us?
Yeah, he had to sign the papers for me to go to the National Guard because I was 17. He asked me one question: what makes you want to join? Because he's hardcore patriotic. What makes you want to be in the military? My answer must have been different than my sister's, because she also wanted to do the same thing, and he said, no, I will not sign your papers. So it makes me wonder what was the difference, but I feel like that's something I can't really ask.
Now you're growing up, and the bulk of your growing up is where?
All over the place. From Dafter to I lived in Eckerman, and then I graduated from Engadine. I even lived in Newberry at one point.
So for those who are watching that don't know, this is all in Michigan, yes?
Yes, Michigan.
Yeah.
Upper Peninsula of Michigan, yeah.
Were you a good kid? Did you study? How would you describe yourself?
I had to take the ASVAB for the military twice. Math, I'm not good at, don't want to ever be good at, but English, I came very easily. If I would have tried in school, I would have done a whole lot better, but I couldn't sit there. I just didn't want to be there. But I got through it, got my high school diploma. But I had to take an extra class through the mail to make sure I had enough credits, because I was capable. I knew I was, but I was a procrastinator, wait till the last second kind of thing. And I wanted to party. Okay, so that was getting to that point then. I was going to ask you, were you a good kid? Yes and no. I was respectful, but kind of a scurvy respectful. Like I had respect for my parents, but I also kind of wanted to do what I wanted to do. So I tried to make both work at the same time.
Did you get in trouble a lot or no?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like what kind of trouble? I
stole my parents' car when we lived in Eckerman and used to drive it out to Kinchlow. Me and my brother would push it down an obnoxiously long driveway. Actually, one time we thought we were getting caught because we hit the horn. He was steering from the window, and I'm pushing from the back. And
just so they wouldn't hear the car start, yeah, right? You pulled it out of the driveway, pushed it, right?
Yep. Well, his elbow hit the horn right by their window. I'm like, great. So we pushed it back, and we go inside, and we're like, aren't they rushing around angry, bumping into each other? They didn't hear things, so we just like, you know what, we're going to keep going with this. But we pushed it on the grass because it was further away. And the next morning, I'm half asleep. My dad goes, he's looking out the window. We're making breakfast because it's also an adult foster home for 6 mentally retarded men, and they're pretty low functioning. And I think it'd be interesting. It's not so interesting in high school, not at all. So we pushed on the grass. My dad's like, somebody's been driving on my grass. I'm like, oh man, yeah, they have been. I'm like, crap, it's us, But we definitely got caught with that because the old school answer machine tapes. He asked us questions that are just dumb to lie about. He's like, you guys been stealing the car? We're like, no. So he's just quiet, and he's like, "You guys been having sex?" We're like, "No," which we were. That's when I lost my virginity. And I'm just like, "No." And he's like, "You guys been doing drugs?" No. That's when there was this brief moment of silence where everybody's just holding their breath, and he just hits play. And he literally beat the shit out of us, and that's the only time he's ever laid hands on me out in the. Took us back to the shed and like beat the shit right out of us.
So he knew you guys were all that.
Oh yeah, we're on the phone talking about how we're going 80 miles an hour down the road, and we hit a rabbit, and about taking their car, and oh man, it was so fun to. No, it wasn't. I was kind of confused. I'm like, that's it, And then we weren't doing drugs. We just acted like we were, but they yanked us right out of school and did a drug test.
Wow.
At the hospital. But
you weren't doing drugs, but you were drinking, and
they didn't care that was invalid. It don't matter. You just made us more mad because we paid for it, and now we don't know what to know from you. And then my brother takes off and goes to live with his biological dad, so I'm stuck there with you're going to be living in the basement or in the garage for 2 weeks with a Bible. And you can come in to use the bathroom, but that's it, because if you don't want to follow the rules here, you won't stay here.
All right, so let me pause you.
Okay.
Because your family tree is many branches. You said your brother went to live with his biological father. This would be one of the children born before your mom and dad had a child.
Yeah, he had a license. I was 14.
So he was your half brother.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
And he was seeing a chick out there too. And it was a sister of the dude I was going to see. Just seemed to work out. So we're like, yeah, let's steal the car.
Say that one more time. Oh, the relationship there.
The relationship.
So he moved in with his father, his biological father.
Yeah.
He left his biological
mother.
Well, she left.
She's at the house with my dad, and we're living in Eckerman, and he's like, you know what? I just don't feel like getting the consequences for this poor judgment we made, so I'm just going to leave my sister. Because we never called each other stepsister, stepbrother. I was mad as shit because he just literally phoned him up and he's off to Escanaba while I'm there getting the punishment of, I can't believe you did. And I know I've had that same reaction to my own kids. So I'm like, how do you guys still?
I just want to sidebar on the beating. Did it have any benefit or no? As a parent now, do you think it benefited you to get the beating?
I can see the frustration there. Why he did it, and he felt bad afterwards. That was the only beating I ever got. I mean, the only one. And he's like, sorry, because you might be pregnant. I'm like, shoot. What can you say to that? Because you're like...
Right. Well, because I'm a male, and two of my male figures, they didn't give me a beating, but they gave me a shot. One shot that I never forgot those shots. And those shots did definitely enhance my respect for them. Mm-hmm. So I never took a beating per se, but I took two good shots from my grandfather and my Uncle Phil, and that I never did anything disrespectful to them again. So sometimes...
Do you have not hate them?
No, my Uncle Phil's one of my main men of all time. So
right. That's how I feel. I feel like kids have too much say. Not that I want to beat my kids, but sometimes.
So anything relevant more in high school till we get to the National Guard? Any other thing you want to talk about there?
I was bullied super bullied in Brimley. I mean, to the utmost. I could not stand Brimley School. I would skip in different cars until I skipped in the principal's car, and why would a principal leave their car unlocked? It seemed kind of irresponsible on his part. But I missed too many days of 8th grade, and they failed me. And I bawled because I'm like, I'm going to have to go back to that school in 8th grade, which I did. My parents were like, well, then you should have changed something.
Why were you getting bullied, do you think?
I don't know. There was one guy that learned to play the guitar for me. He told me later on in life. I still have the poem in a frame, for real. But I thought it was so cool he would sit on the bus with me because we lived in Eckerman. It was 45 minutes out, and I thought Eckerman and Strong's were like their own crew. And later to come find out, because he was like, we held hands on the bus, and then the next minute he's right on the bus of poking fun of me. I mean, I beat up an 11th grade boy when I was on that bus. He took it too far and hit me over the head with his ring, and I clocked out, put him in headlock, and just, I guess people still talk about it.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. But I didn't get kicked off the bus because I'm like, my parents are going to kill me. But I don't know where we're going with that.
I was just asking why you thought kids were bullying you.
Oh, just normal reasons. You're just not the cool person. I didn't have a lot of money. And I lived with 6 adult mentally retarded men. And Jason was told if he was nice to me at all, they were going to be mean to him too, his own friends. I'm like, what?
Yeah, bullying. I was bullied when I was in grammar school because I was chubby.
Oh,
And
I've always been
I-
chubby. They called me pork chop too. So
Okay,
like, yeah.
all right, so that explains it a little bit too.
Yeah.
But my contention is bullying can have a lifelong effect.
It doesn't.
You
to
never
me,
forget
really.
about it.
I kind of giggle about it now because I'm like, it's just part of life. Anybody I talk to, it's part of a story later on in life that didn't kill you. I mean, you're a bunch of little.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
So now, what happens
I-
at the end of high school? You did join the National Guard?
Well, we went to Engadine. We moved again, which I was mad. I was made fun of the girls for homecoming that had to sit on the back of this fancy Corvette freezing. Ended up being homecoming queen. Hated that also. I'm just saying that my friend Emily Reed set me up for that. Because I would always make fun of her to like, look at these idiots. And then I hear my name over the speaker and I'm like, what the heck is that? So I win. I'm in the National Guard. I have drill the next day. And I had smoked weed. So I'm like just standing in the middle of the football field. And guess what my picture looks like in the paper? I wish I had to show you. One eye's closed and I look like I'm like half drunk.
Oh my God.
So I just I graduate high school and then that's when I moved to Florida. After I turn in my stuff, I get out of the National Guard like officially. I decided to go get reacquainted with my half sister Stephanie down in Florida, where I get a job at Walmart and I start playing tennis and
She's older, yes.
she's a little bit older. Yep, she has a daughter at the time, Carolyn. We go out to a party and I get really drunk and I'm like, I gotta go sit in the van. So I go out in the van and her husband comes to check up on me. And when you know, I made a move at him. So I ended up getting pregnant with my first daughter, Carol.
From your
From my-
half sister's husband.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Imagine having to tell your kid that. And then they laugh. They're just like, wow, you're something, Mom.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, well, at least you know. And she's like, he's really ugly. Like, she looked him up and was going to try to get me. I'm like, okay, well, when you're drunk, you do stupid stuff. Pay attention. Learn from my bad mistakes.
And your half sister and him.
They're not still together, but they, she was fine with it. I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but she did not like to terminate our sistership. She was like, okay, well, you're more than welcome to stay down here and I'll help you raise the baby. And I was like, well, I think I want to go home to Mom and Dad because I was terrified, that's exactly what I did.
Which the last words your dad said after he beat you and stopped was, he stopped
He
because
said,
you might
"Really
be
sorry, you
pregnant.
might be pregnant." That's what I put under my high school picture. It said goals, and I'm like barefoot pregnant. So I didn't want to have a job and responsibility. I'm like, kids are fun. I'm kind of like immature like they are. So I did that well. I succeeded in my picture.
All right, so you're how old now when you got pregnant?
I'll be 44 on May 14th.
No, how old were you when you got pregnant?
20.
20.
Yep, I had her when I was 21. But I brought her everywhere. I mean, I drove down to Florida with her, got her on a plane back, brought her to car show. I mean, my parents didn't hold her for 2 weeks. I was in awe. First of all, she cooked into me too long. I was due in the end of May. She went to June 13th and pooped in herself. Mind you, I live in Engadine. They tell me there's too many people having kids. Can you hear me at all? Or no?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have to go back home until I'm in labor for real. So I sit down as soon as I get home to Engadine. When you know, my water breaks. And it's green. They don't tell you that in the baby story. So I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, she pooped in you. But they continue to let me go into labor for 26 hours.
I can handle anything. That's almost too much information for me.
I'm
okay?
sorry. But she ended up a C-section and overcooked and really mad about it. But I didn't let my parents hold her for 2 weeks because I was so like mine.
Mm-hmm.
I was just in awe that I made this cute little shit. So finally I let my parents hold her because I was like, they said it's so nice too. They're like, we're her grandparents. We'd like to hold her too. I guess. So I told her dad about her and he asked me to terminate her in the beginning. Meanwhile,
Your half sister's husband.
yeah, meanwhile, he planted a bunch of sunflowers, which is my favorite flower, in their backyard. Okay, way to show your real woman who you're married to. And then he sends me the whole sunflower, roots and all. My parents are like, you got a really long box in the mail today. I'm like, and he puts his name on it. So
what was the significance of that?
Because I like sunflowers, my favorite sunflower, or favorite flower. So he sent the ones he grew for me, the stem, the root, the dirt, all. I don't know what that means. Just like why. So
during the pregnancy and then the birth, are your half sister and her husband?
No.
But they did say you could live with them when you got pregnant, yes?
Right, but then it was just like we're just going to put this out of our mind. It's too much.
Okay.
And just act like that didn't happen. So that's what I did too. Gladfully.
All right. So now your daughter's born and you're traveling through life. What's the next major event?
I moved to Newberry. I'm a dial-a-ride. I drive for dial-a-ride. But then I'm pregnant for Caitlin. And so, and I just got in a car and everything. I was doing good in life. And then I meet up with her dad again. And I don't blame him, but sort of. I had a job. I had a car that was brand new with a co-signer.
Did you know her dad then? You knew him already?
He's the 14-year-old, like my first love. I played basketball with him. You know, he's from Kentucky, got that Kentucky swag of nothing. And so I fall for it. What's funny, this day, my child that I had with him is really good friends with another baby mama of his that live in the same apartment building complex. Because it's her half brother. She has a half brother she just adores him. I mean, it's hard not to. But it's just funny because at my grandson's birthday party, you know, you got my ex's other baby mama. It's a different kind of ex.
Yeah, I said the family tree has a lot of branches. It's got a lot of connections like this, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like I'm the only one on that branch just making it worse, where everybody's like, yeah, we'd rather not.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So okay. Your friend from age 14, were you dating or was it a one-time thing? What happened there?
No, he moved into my apartment, but I mean, this is what kind of psycho Sally he is. He sees me talking to my boss's son, okay, about the schedule at the Shell station across from our apartment building. So he takes a cake. I made a cake that says, I heart you. He crumbles it everywhere. And then he like kicks out one of the pegs in my balcony and then just tosses furniture everywhere. I tried to throw a fish tank at him when I got in there because I was just like, I was asking about the schedule. So it just didn't work out for us. He ended up in jail and prison multiple times. And I would put money on the phone for him and he would want to talk to me. And I'm like, you know, Caitlin ain't stupid. She gave him a chance when she got older on her own and she just got slapped in the face again. So I'm like, it's on you. I'm going to stay out of it because his brain is definitely Kentucky Fried.
Okay. So,
but at least he gave me her because she's actually well put together.
Now you have two girls.
Yes.
Right? And then what are you doing with your life? How are you making money and where are you living?
Well, I moved in with my parents at one point with my two girls. And I was working at an adult foster care home. And then I also was working at Kmart. That's where I met Andy. My parents were gone, so I had a couple people over for just a couple drinks. And they're like, can we bring this one guy, Andy? And I'm like, sure. Well, I was just like, oh, he's got a nice car and he's tall and handsome. He's in the Coast Guard, but not handsome. I don't know. So I was just, we met in May and got married in October. And I stayed married to him for 12 years. And we pretty much made a good team, but not romantically attracted to each other in any shape or form.
And any more children? Did you have children with him?
Yep. I got pregnant when we first got to Marquette with my daughter, Cassandra, who was colicky for 9 months.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And then we got to pick 3 places to go. We did our 4 years there. This is a real kicker. I wanted to go to Guam because I'm like, who gets to go to Guam? You know, kids would be a neat experience. Well, he only put down like places he wanted to go. And we ended up going exactly where he wanted to go, which was New England, which is where he grew up. He grew up on the East Coast. I'm like, okay, cool. Where he bought a vehicle with cash that we just got from a bonus, so please don't buy that vehicle. And then got kicked out of the Coast Guard because he wasn't making enough room for an advancement. They said, we don't care about the bonus. Just get to where you're going. So he moves us back to Kinchlow, Michigan, where I don't want to go because I don't blame the place. I just blame the things within the place that are tempting for me. So I started doing drugs on a daily, like almost back to a daily basis. Cause I would like play around with drugs or drinking, but I wouldn't hold on to one for very long or anything thing.
So through the years, you would toy with various drugs, yes?
Right.
So like what, marijuana? And
Marijuana, pain pills mostly. I didn't even touch coke until my late 30s.
what did pain pills do to you?
Pain pills gave me energy to clean the house and make sure dinner was done, that sort of thing.
Mm.
Like I wasn't anal about my house being clean, so I'm like, they're kids. They'll make a mess. Who cares? They're happy, kind of thing. But it was just it was hard for me to keep up. So I was just like, I'm going to take pain pills.
And where do you get this stuff? Just you know where to get it on the street, or
that's the weird thing I think about all the time is like, how did it come about just being available? Because it's not like I sought it out.
Mm-hmm.
It just was available. So I can't explain that because I remember having my C-section and I didn't like the way the pain pills it gave me made me feel because I couldn't hold my kid. So I was like, I just flushed them. But then later on in life, I'm like, then I end up even using IVs. I was doing morphine to begin with, and then went to prison, and then I was doing morphine and coke right before prison.
Okay, so we're jumping a little bit ahead. So your husband gets kicked out of the Coast Guard. You come back to Michigan. You start to do drugs again, right?
Yeah, and I went to go return some movies. We lived in my parents' house, me and my 4 kids and him. And I know it was just like his way of getting us out of there by going to Kinross, but it's just like, it was just another slap in the face to me. But so we moved to Kinross. I mean, the vehicle that we had that we paid cash for, he had gotten a loan on. I had no idea. So I'm going to return a movie and I'm getting surrounded by 5 vehicles who repo our Jeep Commander over a $5,000 loan. He paid $18,000 cash.
Wow.
So we get it back. I don't know how, but we do. They said you're one of the rare ones. We move into our place. Everything's fine for a while. And then I asked my friend about a pizza delivery guy that I thought was good looking. And we ended up hanging out that night. I mean, he's sought after. He's like much younger than me. He's 25, I'm 32. And he keeps like, we have now I don't sleep around. I'm not like that type of person, but that night we met and that's what happened. And I'm thinking, I didn't have any feeling behind it. Then I was just like, well, cool. I was kind of shocked that he wanted to keep talking to me every day. We were inseparable for 2 years after that. Not a day until he cheated on me.
Okay, you're going really fast now.
Yeah.
You're married.
Yeah, but
with your kids, living with your parents. You meet the pizza delivery guy.
Out in Kinross, once we move out of my parents.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then, was that a one-night stand?
No, that's actually my co-defendant for prison.
Okay, so he became your partner in crime then.
Yes.
So tell me how we go from you started dabbling in drugs, then you met him, right? And then you start a relationship with him, the pizza guy, yes? And then he's doing drugs too, and now you're like Bonnie and Clyde, right? Your partners in crime, literally.
That's what it felt like, was Bonnie and Clyde, because I'm telling you, I never had to, the shock kind of wore off of, wow, what, because I'm telling you, like, everybody still thinks this man is attractive. And he's got a good head on his shoulders, but at the same time, like, drugs came into the factor and, just wrecked us.
And then the drugs were cocaine?
We were shooting up cocaine and morphine. Yep.
And I know this from my mother, because we talked, both of our mothers died of heroin overdoses. When you cook it, you put it in a spoon and you hold it over a candle or some heat source, then it turns to liquid, right? And you draw it into a needle, correct? Yeah. And you shoot it in a vein, right?
Right. And I never wanted part of that process because I'm impatient and I'm just like, get it done.
So why do that versus just snorting it? Is it more effective that way? What's the allure of shooting it versus snorting it?
It's a whole different feel, and I don't know how to explain it. Like it's more intense. It's more right away. It's nerve-wracking. I'll never forget Caitlin, my youngest, Jason, that I was talking about, that went to Kentucky. He's in and out of jail. Him and his mom had asked me if I wanted to try to shoot up morphine, and they actually got excited about doing it for me because I couldn't do it. I was like, what the heck? But like the excitement in their eyes and I thought after the fact, like, how could you be excited about showing somebody this? And I would have to like pay people to do it for me. And then finally I said, I don't want to. And I figured it out myself. I mean, But that's during meth, because I never thought I would shoot meth up in my arm, but I did.
I don't know too much about drugs because I've never done drugs. I told you I saw people almost overdose in my house when I was a kid, so I was scared. So meth, does meth come in liquid form, or do you have to cook it down like cocaine? How does that work?
You just put it in water. It dissolves. Meth does.
And then you shoot it?
Yep.
Draw it in a needle and shoot
I
it.
prefer to do that. Well, I don't prefer to do it alone. It's a sex drug. In the first, I was your typical meth head of in the mirror and sketchy, but it progressed. It definitely became something different over the years. Because I'm telling you, I injected this nearly most every day for 3 years. And it's like it switched up somehow in a positive kind of way that made me start thinking differently. I know it sounds absolutely insane, but it's like it opened up the whole different avenue of, it's not a negative thing, but it's not something I should do as a lifestyle thing. I don't regret the meth stint at all.
Are you saying it had a positive effect on your brain?
Yeah.
Like, so I believe there can be something to that because like the therapeutic mushrooms and stuff, people do those and they supposedly open up their brains, in LSD.
I've done LSD too, and I've never ever craved that drug except for I enjoyed it a couple times. I had one bad trip, but I did a bunch of research beforehand saying like you want to surround yourself with the best kind of people. Like I didn't want to trip where I'm like lost forever. And I was talking to others that do it. Like even though I was a previous science teacher at a school, it shocked the shit out of me to hear that they said that, yeah, that's good. And I'm like, what? They said if you're gonna do a drug, that's the best one to do. It like kind of like does a reset for you. And I thought that was pretty eye opening. And then talking to other people that you would never think would do LSD, they're like, hell yeah, And is it something you do all the time? No. And I was thinking about that. I never had a craving to do it right after doing it that one time. I did it like twice, and it was like more than a year lapsed between them. And I thought I did feel real good after that too.
I think I might have said therapeutic mushrooms. I think I meant hallucinogenic, not therapeutic, but
they say those too.
Yeah. So now where are we in the story? Now you're doing lots of drugs and
I commit lots of crimes because I just do whatever it takes, even if it makes no sense. And you just look. I mean, I look at the pictures and I'm gray. I'm literally gray. I would be dead. There's no doubt.
Gray meaning gray hair?
Just gray hair too, because I'm old. But just my body's gray. And with meth, it was different at the end too, where I could out eat your average man, and I would sleep 8 hours a night and take a nap during the day. It was very productive. So I was like, wow. And I had confidence, which was weird. And in the beginning, I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd be like, not even looking at you. And then I'm just like, I really don't care what anybody thinks right now.
Can you function on meth? Like, can you go to work and stuff like that?
I don't want to. I always say there's one. I think there's a way to help meth addicts personally. I don't know all the specifics into it. I've even talked to Rob Allen, in the state police department, about it. I talked to my substance abuse counselor about it. Like, I don't know the specifics of it, but it's like, what if you let people in general, not just meth addicts, take care of business of one-time deal of just get it out of your system and just promise us that you'll follow through and do the right thing and get your shit together. It would work a whole lot better than people just saying, nope, now on my time, and we're just so concerned. How about just asking what I need? And really meaning that statement, because if you gave me what I need and what I said would help, even if it makes no sense, you'd be surprised how it would work. That kind of trust from somebody, the kickback of that would make world of difference, and especially because we're selfish by nature. Addicts are. I don't care what they say. We are. It's a continual fight.
I have a theory on selfish.
Okay.
We're all selfish. Even if you live a life of giving, all right, like Mother Teresa, for instance.
Right.
She's doing that because it satisfies her personal code. It brings her joy. She just happened to pick something that we all look at as wonderful. But she's living a selfish life because what she's doing, although it be sacrifice, is bringing her joy and happiness. So human beings by nature, I believe we're all selfish to a degree.
Right.
So,
Well, and I had a friend tell me who's very educated. He said people who do drugs, it's to avoid pain and gain pleasure. One of the two or both. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. And I was like, because people used to tell me I do drugs not just because I like the feel of it. Yes, I do. I really don't try to hold on to too many things. I mean, I might talk about it if it makes me real angry, but I mean, I've even made amends with a person that I'm on probation for now. She said I stalked her. She's a previous guardian of my youngest. It was not good of an ending of things, but she's also my daughter's friend from high school. She's grown up in my house. But her stalking charges, because I threatened to shoot her with a gun. I did. But I just was staying the night at her house for 3 nights, and it's the happiest I've been in a long time. Because when I went to go talk to her about it, I didn't want there to be bad feeling, out there. And because I am grateful for what she did for my daughter. And to hear somebody be like, yeah, I was just feeling, you pissed me off that far. So yeah, all of that was irrelevant.
is to make amends part of the thing
I'm
they
on
teach?
probation because of this. I'm at her house, and she just owns it completely. She's like, yeah, next time just don't provoke my witch sort of thing. I'm like, and I say that all the time. And I'm like, how can you not giggle at something like that? Like, wow, you just really are that. What's so funny about it? I was like, I don't care what anybody says. I had a lot of fun with her, and we're cracking jokes. The cops pull up to her apartment complex. I'm like, Shonda, we might be going to jail for hanging out. It's just like, it would make no sense to my kids, to anybody else around me, if I were to be like, no, I just want to be angry still.
But when you said make amends, is that part of the program? You have to make amends with people you hurt, or is that your own personal thing you're doing?
Well, everything I'm doing is not forced. I feel like that says something. I'm not tooting my own horn, but kind of, because the court's not making me go to rehab.
Well, we'll pause there. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So we're going back into the story. You start doing some bad stuff to get money for drugs, yes?
Yes. So I go to prison for 4 years.
What were you doing?
I was stealing out of my brother's house. I broke into a storage place unit that I was working for. I would take money on a whim, and then at the very last bit, I broke into the building and swiped all the cash out of the till and the checks, plus the checks, took the money. And then I broke into my aunt's house also, and then I could not write the statement. I hid under the bed actually when the cops came to get me to write the statement because I was like, if I'm going to go into this, I'm just going to put it all out there. Because how can you go into something like that without just putting it out there? I didn't want it to have. I wanted my side of the street clean, so I could fully just go in there, because you kind of have to do it that way because there's a lot going on in prison.
Obviously, you've built addiction into your personality, addictive personality. I have an addictive personality, but I try to be addicted to things that are better than drugs.
Right.
When you're stealing stuff, that's exhilarating too.
That wasn't exhilarating for me. That was a whole panic.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not a good feeling. The most panicky feeling of this is why are you going through this? But you just want it that bad, don't you?
How'd you get caught?
How did I get caught? That my aunt's house ultimately, and my brother. My brother knew it was me because everybody knew what I was doing.
And then did they connect previous robberies to that, or was it just?
They couldn't figure out my aunts. I just came clean about it. Oh, a neighbor seen me outside of my brother's house, so that would have landed me somewhere, but I didn't think about that at the time. And nobody really knew about the storage unit's place. He knew I stole money, but didn't press charges. And I seen him afterwards. He gave me a big hug. I'm like, I don't know if you remember me, but I owe you a big apology.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I'm not ashamed of going to prison either. It's just like it was part of what had to be done for me to get things a little bit quicker because I almost went to prison again, I feel, but not. I ended up doing drugs hardcore, not worse afterwards.
Right. So let's hold on to prison. You went to prison for 4 years for stealing stuff.
Home invasion, they got me. 2 counts of home invasion, 2nd degree.
But is home invasion different than like burglary?
Yeah, it was the first time I've ever had a felony, so I didn't understand anything. Like I would have to go. They came at me with 8 years, and I'm frustrated because I don't know. I'm dealing with the loss of my kids. I'm trying to write them little letters. I don't have money.
And how many kids at this time?
I have 4 girls. The youngest, Kelsey, was 5, and they were all 2 years apart. So it was 5, 7, 9, and 11. And all I can think about is what they're going to be like. Like, what are they going through right now? You know what I mean? Like, what are the? I didn't want to think about them falling down, getting hurt.
Did you have the 4th child with the pizza guy?
No, I had the last 2 children with my husband.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. But prison was misery. I started.
Tell me a little bit about the prison, like the misery of prison.
There's lots, but I'll tell you what, they classify really wrong. I've never been in jail. I spent 1 night in jail previously, but that's a whole other story. But I got put in a room with the lady I was in a level 2, and she'd been down 20 years on a life sentence. Okay. I have no flipping, and when I walk in, it's just like the movies. You got an officer's desk in the middle, and you got 2 tiers, left and right. There's upper and lower. I mean, it looks just like out of a movie. And I don't care. I'm not being racist. I'm not racist, but you got the black. I don't know. Blowing me up like I ain't nothing when I walk in that door, and I'm terrified. I have a duffel bag going. I'm gonna die, maybe. I don't know. So my bunkie, it's got the toilet in the room. She's like, "Do you snore? Do you steal? Do you shed?" That's the only words I heard for months. And
What is shed?
hair loss, I guess, when your hair comes out of the.
I got you.
Yeah, that's a problem later down the road too, where I'm surprised I didn't go to SEG again because I spoke up. I got ripped off my top bunk by her, who was 6'1" black lady, and got the shit kicked right out of me. I went to SEG, not her. And when I get out of SEG,
What is that?
Segregation is like jail within jail, and it's terrifying. All it is people yelling, and you get handcuffed to the shower. It's terrible. So I get out of SEG, and that bunkie's like, "That's my bunkie," all proud. I'm highly confused. You just beat the shit out of me a week ago. I still have bruises. On my face.
That's really interesting.
I would say that's, and then I almost got raped, actually, for real, got raped. And I can make fun of this, but so I get put in another room. This is directly after that room. And it's a little black girl who's like shorter than me. And everybody's like, "She's trying to sleep with you." She's trying to sleep. I'm like, "No, it's not like that." Because she's letting me watch her TV, and I don't have money. I mean, I'm indigent. I had to. Nobody would send me money, and I get that part. It's got to be harder. How are you going to remember it? And so when they do a round, she's putting up the door cover, and she's like, "Get down here," and some dirty words kind of thing. And I'm like, "I ain't doing that." Well, then it got physical every day. We're fighting in the room where she's naked, thinking she's going to get something, and we're physically fighting because they can't hear us. We're on the lower level all the way down. And you can throw and half the guards only just say, "You okay in there?" and then just walk by. One of my roommates, whatever. One of my neighbors ended up reporting it also. I went to the ARUS, the counselor person. I went to the guards, and they're like, one day they said, "Lee check lock up for count," and I'm like, "No." I just stood there until they brought me to SEG. So I went to SEG really 3 times, but that was a short stay. But they put that same lady on the walkway, just me and her right before count time, which never happens. Nobody's on the walkway because they panic about the whole count time thing. They got to count you 5 times a day. And I know that was a setup, and she knew it. It wasn't her first rodeo in prison, so that's how you know the people who are supposed to be good are corrupt as shit. But not only that, but they ended up moving her into my new unit on the east side, which is level 1. They leveled her down even and put her in the same damn unit as me. So she's taunting me in there, and I went to the officer's desk, and I'm like, and she agreed. She was a good officer. She's like, I'll get this right. And she was moved that day. I'm like, this is a joke. And then I got put in SEG one other time when I said no to the warden.
The prison, a prison, and this is only my observation, never been there. It's like a microcosm of the world, the politics and the power structure, and there's not much good in that whole system, right?
No, it's like high school for adults. Not even. It's sad when there's like a officer that's not normally there. It's like a substitute teacher, and it's ridiculous. And then every time Store comes around, you're like, "I thought this happened 2 weeks ago." What's a big hype? So I ended up starting to run my frustration off because my husband was also, at the time, living in Ohio, making me look like crap on this NBC Nightline while he's got 13 people living in this house that's bed bug infested. My kids have like still have scars on their arms and stuff from.
All right, let's color this one out. So
Okay.
your husband went on Nightline.
Yeah, they make him out like there's 5 million views on this thing on YouTube, and it's still getting comments. Even when my kid got on there and said we're living with our mother now and doing great, somebody popped in with a negative comment of, "Well, just make sure you watch out because she took your like everything from you before. She'll do it again." I'm like, and it made Cassandra mad, and she's like, "I just told them from my own point of view, like we're one of the daughters on that video, and we're doing good. Like life ain't bad, but you want to say, but it might be." So I said, just leave it alone. I said, people love drama and negativity. There's always going to be somebody that puts something on there. I said, you don't got to defend me in any way. I know what it is. And do I still hold on to a little bit of, I think it's normal too. I don't let it run me, but I'm mad about it still. Because they may come out to make like a super dad and they put.
What was the story in a nutshell on Nightline?
Drug addicted mom behind bars.
And you said he was living in a house with a bunch of people?
13 people. Actually, the prison system did something wonderful for that because I went to an ARUS and she had everybody being removed from that house, but my kids and the dad within 24 hours.
Who were the people living in the house?
Some lady that was crazy. They did so much trauma to my kid too. Her name is Michelle. She has a bunch of kids, but she's literally psychopathic lady trying to take advantage of Andy because Andy is a type of dude you could take advantage of. I did repeatedly. I always tell my kids like, you talk because they have such hatred towards him. He used to lock up the food, and I could put my hand around one of my daughter's arms, and I tell them it's a 50-50 thing why things ended up the way they are. But within time, this is my take on it. You got to decide what you're going to do with that. If you're going to stay angry, fine, that's your choice. But you got to like make a decision and stay with it because like some of my daughters have hurt me to the utmost where I'm like, I even talked to Dave about it. Like if it goes this way, I don't know if I can really go any further. And that sounds so terrible as a mother, but drug addiction is not always like, I don't feel like it's one-sided. Like I get my bigger part of the whole thing, but at the same time, like undeserved kindness goes a long way because I wouldn't be where I'm at without it. Because I know it takes a lot to be around me, to choose to be around me or whatever, because I have issues and I have nothing. So I'm high maintenance at the moment. It used to like make me tense to ask for help, but that's where Dave's come in too, helping me out a lot. He's like, if somebody offers, let them do it. Let them make that decision.
So tell us about Dave real quick.
Dave is awesome. I call him Studs. He hates it. And he goes in his garage. I'm like the 5-year-old he never wanted. That's what I tell him. I mean,
How did you meet Dave?
I met him through my ex-boyfriend, Tom, who lived down the street in Red Yard. And then I would go over there on a whim, with one of my kids, or I even used his sauna once, which I think shocked him. And then he would ask me to water his flowers when he wasn't home. And then I have to say, hey, I lost everything. Can I live with you? And he's a bachelor and enjoys it.
And former alcoholic?
Yes, which I would have never dreamed of.
You're supposed to say alcoholic, but if you...
I feel like it's not valid. If you're not drinking, you're not an alcoholic.
I agree.
Okay,
but they're supposed to say I'm an alcoholic
right.
all the time, right?
Yeah, and he's taught me a lot, and it's not downgrading my parents at all. They've done their end. They've had their end.
Oh, yeah.
Church past, don't care.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. He's taken in a lot. 'Cause, I mean, there's been some things that have come out of my mouth that has not been all that respectful to a person that's putting a roof over your head and making you feel comfortable as ever. But he's the one that got me, I say, is the beginning of me finishing things and following through. Because he's like, what about chorus? And I'm like, he's like, I'll pick you up. I'm like, so I go there.
To chorus?
Chorus, yeah.
Okay.
The chorus, and I'm just like, mind you, I stayed in my house because of self-esteem issues, because I knew everybody knew my business, and it was just not liking myself very much. But something switched when I started living at Dave's of, I'm going to talk out loud to the woods, talk to deer, and not care, and he made me go to doctor's appointments, like follow through with things. Not made me, but kind of. Sometimes I need that kind of help.
He pushed you.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for it. I'm like, good, cool, Tom. Good thing you're a shitty friend because I just picked up yours and I'm happy about it.
And Dave, you know, you know this already. I did a podcast with him. I mean, the simplest way I could sum him up is he's just a fine human being.
I know, and he makes me mad about it because he's just like, that's fine, that's just the way it is. And I'm like, no, Dave, I'll get mad for you. I will. And I'm just like, what? He even let me take his car once, all the way from
Did he make you push it out of the driveway first and then start?
He watched me go down the driveway, and I was like, he goes, let me get a cigar and sit down. And he's got a cubicle in the garage, and it's got tall shelves when you first walk in. So I was like, knock, knock, and I'm like, hey, Dave. And he's got a year slower than most. He's like, oh my gosh. He's just not now. He's like, could you just not be crazy? Because like, I'll come down the stairs and be like, good night for the first time. And I'm like, oh wait, but I forgot to tell you this. So I'm coming back to, and I almost caught his house on fire. He said, don't burn down the house. First year I'm living there, and what do you know? I had a chimney fire.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Like, so I have 20 fire department men in the front lawn, and I have to have my pregnant daughter who hates me run her phone up to a choir that he has in progress, and I'm dropping F-bombs. Like, Dave, I almost burned down your house when you said not to. I'm like, the fire burned down. You just, no, I'm on speaker. So the whole church is probably like, I don't even know this for months afterwards. So we got jokes, and I almost burned my face off in his burn barrel, so he's taught me a lot.
Let's summarize the end of the timeline here. So you got out of prison how many years ago?
I got out 2017.
Okay, so that's roughly 8 years. And then have you had a relapse into drugs after prison or no?
Yes.
And then so what happens there? Did you go to what did you say?
I was working at the co-op in Kinross. That's where I met my friend Bart, who I took advantage of him.
What's co-op?
Regular co-op, and it's got a hardware in it. It's just a little grocery store.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
I worked in the hardware department, and I worked at Huck's too, and kind of ping pong places. Honestly, because I couldn't keep up with like my drug addiction, I would end up stealing like food and stuff from the co-op, and I ended up, one of the coworkers who I was friends with came up to me, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And it was confusing because they were like, "No, we're not going to tell anybody." You know, then they started feeling bad about me doing bad. I'm like, "No, it's all good. Like, you guys are still my friends. I'm going to come over and taunt and trust me. Like, there's not a problem." But it was overwhelming for Nick, who I worked with, because he was just like, "We ruined her life." I'm like, "No, you didn't. I was doing wrong. You caught me." Cool. It was almost like a relief, I guess. I don't know. And Bart, and I understood why everybody did not like me in that store, because I was taking advantage of Bart, the one who runs it, showing up when I want to, leave when I want to, sort of thing. I set a bad pace for me. And I think that's where the confidence thing came in. But I'll tell you what, the course changed me big time there too, because I'm never, ever ashamed of, I'm just like, whoever is talking about me, I don't really care anymore. It does me no good to waste time on that sort of thing. But I'm also just kind of like put it out there. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of crazy. I don't care. It's almost like a relief to have a reason, like wow, cool, I don't have to like tuck it. Just be a dingle out in public and not care. Even if I'm 44.
8 years out of prison, you worked at the co-op, and then you were back into the drugs again?
Yep. I don't know how it got introduced again. I just know Beth was in my house with somebody, and it wasn't like it was forced on me. But I said, sure. At
that singular point is fascinating to me, because that to me is a crossroad point. The point where you've been in jail, all this shit happened as a result of drugs, and now you haven't done drugs in a while, correct?
At the very end of...
I mean, in that story right there where you... Okay, go ahead.
Oh, when I got off parole, I started.
Right away?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Not the hard stuff, just pain pills, pot, and drinking.
Was there ever a fork in the road moment after you got out of prison where, like for instance, this is the first time I'm going to take a drug after going to prison for taking drugs, basically, did you have a crossroad moment, or we were like, nope, I'm gonna get right back into it? Crossroad means, should I really do this because this is what got me in trouble before? Did you ever hit that crossroad or no?
That kind of happens in every moment. You have that. It's just sometimes that's just the way it is. Honestly, it's not like I'm in the moment going, man, I shouldn't do it. I mean, it's there every moment. You go to do that, but you just brush it off. That's how I do. Not anybody else, maybe not, but I just brush it off like this is what I need right now.
You just
I make
excuses, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, and this is just said as an observer, I think that's what the drugs do to your brain. Like they're so powerful to override your intelligence. You know what I mean?
And it's like I tell my kids and anybody, it's not fun for me to lose everything, and then I do own it, but that's a heavy load too. To own it. I mean, my daughter showed her friend, who is my ex's daughter. I had a bunch of needles in the house. I put them in a bag and asked my oldest to just throw the bag away. I mean, it was like a bag within a bag within a bag. I said, you ain't dumb. She ain't. I was always honest with my kids about it. I'm like, you know, you dumb, you know what's in it, but it got brought to my brother, who then my other daughter showed her friend, and it was just blasted to the whole community. So
then with the drugs now, how are you working to stay clean?
Honestly, I can't tell you how many. I've had a slip ups that Dave's I've had to tell him about. Not my finest moments. But he's always like, yeah, you're making progress.
Mm-hmm.
And it took everything out of me to like tell him, hey, I failed today, kind of thing. I don't want a lifestyle of it, but I'd be lying if I'm nervous about losing everything again, because I know what I know, that it was an abrupt, not my idea stop. Now that I know what I know without it and how much better it is without it, I always say I don't want a lifestyle with it, but I want to get by with it, because I think that's what causes the train wreck further down the line. But I got rid of Facebook. I'm not going to seek it out. I'm not going to make any effort towards it. I'm not. So is that a concern of mine that this is just all for nothing? Because this is a lot of work for me to go do this at 44.
Because you decide to go to rehab again, right?
Yeah, I'm going May 8th. I haven't slipped up, which shocks the shit out of me because I just does. It's been the longest time. But do I still think about that one time with that one person every day?
And I think that is intelligent, is realizing that, once you think you're infallible, that's problematic. So if you thought, yeah, I'm good, I'm not going back there, I don't think that's good. I think it's better to understand that anybody can fall.
I don't want to. I don't want.
So you're
my kids, my grandkids. I mean, I've seen what it has done to them and how long it's taken me to get the little bit I've got back of them. So would I want to ruin that? Heck no. Especially, sorry, but my grandson is super adorable. I call him Nugs, but his name is Lucas James Sawyer. And his dad, they're not married, but his dad's phenomenal. I mean, and he's awesome. I love him more than all my other kids. They know it. They're okay with it.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And, it just seems like if I'm doing just so much positive things have come too. Like my oldest had just gotten her diploma after dropping out of high school. I told her that's like unheard of. Like I'm not trying to toot your horn being fake, but that's a hard thing to do. She sent me a picture of her in a cap and gown. Then my 19-year-old, she's a parapro and goes to college full time and is like a genius for real. And works at Peer Country. Then my youngest, she's smart as shit too. And honestly, I'm starting to get back. I have to do dishes to see her, but whatever. That's a whole other story too. But they're coming back in my life, and I think they're talking amongst each other like this time's different. So, and I feel like it is too. Like there's a. I just feel like it is a good thing. But I can't help but go. I wouldn't mind a man holding my hand through it though either. So I think that's part of the whole. Yeah, I want to, but not really. I hope I don't pop off with an attitude because I'm just sad and it has nothing to do with you and I just wrecked something.
Well, my friend, there's a lot of stuff that's happened in your life, and I don't want to say to untangle, but you may have untangled a lot of it. This is how I'm processing your story myself. You know, your kids and everybody in your life. Yeah, you've derailed a bunch of times with the drugs and stuff, but you're still here.
Right.
And that means you're a survivor. Okay. And you're still trying, right? You're still fighting your own demons. And that is what you'll be measured by. That's what your kids are watching. And they're going to get pissed at you if you derail again or you have little slip ups, and you'll understand that. But it's the fight in you, I think, that is bringing you guys back. You know what I'm saying?
It's took a lot on my end, and I think they've noticed that because they know what an asshole I am. And I'm sorry I'm swearing on this, but there's no other way to put it. Where they're like, mom reacted like that or said that. Holy crap, mom might be a mom. You know, it's just things I missed down the road where I'm looking back going, oh, because it like, oh, whoops. And I can see how they could see what a big confusing shithole of a house, and I'm just not getting it. And now I'm seeing like those characteristics in each one of my kids, and I'm trying to pass down like the things that the people, because they're all like well respected people in the community that are very knowledgeable, that have helped me, that undeserved kindness. I mean, I have friends who are Jehovah's Witnesses. They just plop all these gifts off at me, and for no reason. I would normally be like, no, no. No, I'm like, this is like being a princess. Like, thank you. And I think this time it's just a lot about the people too, because you can't do this sort of thing just by yourself. You can't. Because it's that much work.
So you and I talked about purpose before we started. Most people in life, I don't even ever think in terms of what is my purpose, but I do believe we all have a purpose. And your rough roads, like, they gave you experience that the normal person never gets that experience. And you're very smart and you're paying attention, and you've kept deferring to people stepping up to the plate to help you, like this unconditional kindness, like what is happening here. And I think this is what I see. If I was going to write the end of your story, it would be this. Your rough roads in life gave you the experience to know how it is to be in the trenches with bullets flying at you. And all these people who helped you, right, to get you to today where you're alive sitting in front of me, gives you an innate set of skills. You've been in the darkness and you've been in the light. You know what people do when they're in the darkness, and you know what people do to help you get back into the light. And that gives you an amazing skill set. And I feel like maybe your purpose and destiny will be, you're going to be like a true like general and helping others that are going through what you went through.
I thought about a probation officer. I could be like, I've been in the seat you're sitting in right now. I had to do all the things you're doing right now. And that will be a shocker for some people to be like, what? Yeah. I've tried to walk out of my own probation officer's office recently. Okay, he told me where we sit down. I'm like, okay. Like, because I told him it pissed me off what you just said to me. And I think what a good guy he is, because I could tell he heard what I said. Because he was saying I could sleep all night and put people in jail and orange all the time. And that was the second time I heard him say it, and I'm like, pisses me off when you say that to me. I was like, because it means you don't care. And he was like, he has a little twinkly eyes, you know. He goes, "Where we sit down?" And I said, "Okay, fine." You know, like, and he's like, "If you have a want to do meth and you need to come and sit in my office all day," and he meant it. He was like, "Then do just that." Mm. And he's never said anything like that to me. I even told him I was pissed he was sick when I was like, "Hey, I guess what I said I would go to rehab." He was like, "I wanted to tell you good job on that." He called me sick, you know. So I would say it's just an all around, like, I'm receiving things differently. I can tell that too. It's like, how did I miss all that? 'Cause the same feeling is still there, but it's just different. But it's just been a long struggle trying to get anywhere. Like, I tried to tell the judge that at a guardianship court case, and it made me mad that he because he's just pressing me on my daughter, and it was voluntary. It wasn't court ordered for me to get her guardians, but what am I going to do? Drag my kid around homeless with me? So he tells me, and he's like all mad about it, almost like, when are you going to make a change? I don't know. I was thinking maybe you just hear me out on the things that have changed and that are sticking. It's not like I'm showing it for a second. It's like a continuous pattern of, okay, let's throw her a bone here type thing. But it just don't work like that. But that's what I want, because I want to make sure in the head, like, oh, maybe there's a big prize. Like President, I'm sorry. It's just right, like, guess what? Even though you're doing what normal adults do on their own, you don't get a prize for it. We're gonna give you it.
Yeah, but you gotta give yourself a little thumbs up when you start to rack up victories. You know what I mean? You have to don't underestimate that, because drops fill buckets.
That's what Ricky said today too in the text message, because I'm like, I have all this stuff to do, and honestly, I don't have much energy, but my daughter's gonna help me. But she said, a little bit adds up, sort of, and I know that, and I work good under procrastination. It usually just no time to panic, just get this done, and hate yourself later for that. But you did it.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is by George Patton, General George Patton. You know who he is?
I know who he is, but not really the background of it.
He was one of our high-profile generals in World War II, and he believed that he was reincarnated through time as a warrior. He fought many battles through many different generations. He would take a jeep with some other generals into an ancient battlefield where they had ruins, and he would talk about the battle and exactly how it went down. And they would say, George, you make it sound like you were here. And he goes, I was here. I fought in this battle hundreds of years ago. Well, anyway, he said the measure of a man is not how high he gets, but how far he bounces off the bottom. And I love that.
I like that.
So you're bouncing off the bottom right now.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's moments where I'm like, wow, everything. And I don't want to do nothing. And then somehow I just end up, like, even getting here, it was a real struggle to get here. I bitched and moaned. And I was like, it's not nothing personal. Like, I don't want to hang out there. It's just, I don't like to do anything I don't plan of doing. I don't know, I'm selfish.
As I said, we all are, but
I like to just bounce around, not have engagements. I don't like having a time to do anything. I'm not good at it. But I'm like, as soon as I got here, I'm like, cool, I didn't let him down, because my friend who has horses, she's a bus driver too. She used to let her down. She don't give people second chances. She literally is threatening. She will look at you like she didn't know you, type thing. Her husband had asked her, why do you keep helping Ruby? Because he's even shocked, because she'll load up their horses, and I could be like, I can't. She's like, I don't know, she's trying. I thought that was like the cutest little thing to say, because Kathy does not do that. Kathy does not give second chances. She just one and done.
Well, this is the first time I ever met you, and we talked a little there, we talked a little here, and I got a really sincere, loving energy out of you. So that's what's happening to people that help you. You're like, why are you helping me? Mm-hmm. Maybe they see you, the real you, better than you even do. You know what I mean? Because if you are truly an asshole, and I love how you say I'm an asshole, because that's a good accountability to yourself. If you were that, people wouldn't be helping you.
I don't know. Bart gets it the worst. Okay, because Bart, he'll tell me he's coming in 10 minutes, and I'll be in the driveway, literally going, like, just mad, ripping on him. Like, you clearly weren't on your way. And then I call him, but he's panicked. And, like, he's going to drive. I'm like, I'm sorry, Bart. Sorry. Because I asked him one time, because he's been the one to help me financially, like, the last 8 years plus. I'm probably in debt well into $1 million. And I said, why do you continually help me out? And he goes, this was years ago. He goes, because everybody needs somebody.
That's awesome.
Most sincere, genuine. I told him, your time's coming. Look at, like, Dave's winning grills for his end of this bargain. Like, I borrowed money from Bart to pay back Dave $20. Dave will be like, where'd you get the money? I said, Bart. And He goes, does he know? I said, yes, I needed it to pay you back. Because I'm kind of curious, like, why do you care? You get your $20 back, man. And he goes, it's because he did. I tell Bart, you don't got to house me. He goes, he probably wanted to tip that statement, didn't he? Because Bart's like, whatever it takes to have you not at my house at least.
That's awesome.
Like they're all doing their part. Dave houses me, Bart finances me. Like they all have a group meeting daily.
See, you have a strong group of people. That's awesome.
Yeah, they asked me that on the registration of rehab. They're like, do you have a good support system? I'm like, oh yeah. Because I tell them I'm going to be extra needy. I need to go places like the dunes, and I can't be confined. I cannot. So trust me, I'll call whenever, because I do now. I'm just like 3 o'clock in the morning. I need an ambulance.
You know, I'm going to steal that from Bart. He said, because everybody needs somebody. Is that what he said?
Just that plain.
That's unbelievable.
Somebody, and I'm telling you, the kickback of our friendship is nil. That man gets nothing from me. He gets no help of any sort. I pay him back money, but then I just use it right back up.
Right.
He takes care of my kids financially. He gave my kid $500 to get a couch for the one with their grandson, and he like adopted her the most because she's always been the one to just say, "Hey, Bart, how you doing?" on a whim, not for anything else in return, nothing. And she doesn't want to ever ask him for help. She goes, I don't want to do it, but I know I'm going to end up doing it, but I don't want it to make it seem like I was using him like you did.
Wow. That's kind of brutal.
She's head Satan. Just know that. But I love her. I have the most respect for her still because when I went to prison the first time, she did not talk to me for a year. And she was the kid everybody in the family wanted attention from. She only gave it to me. And I used to be like, kind of inwardly like, haha, she won't go to you. But, and I kicked myself for that. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, I get it. She's just that mad, and that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And in every picture, the time I'm gone, you have Caitlin. Why are you even looking at me? Look, So, but when I went and told her about the meth thing, she's let me. I knew that she was having a baby first. That what the gender was. She has not X'd me out in even a little tiny bit.
Wow, nice.
So, and I think she takes a lot of brunt of being the mother figure, really. Her and my oldest, the other two look up to them. And so, I don't know, it's all unique relationships. Don't make one better than the other. But my kids know I love them. I know that.
If you could write the end of your story, how does it go?
Well,
what's the ultimate ending for you?
I just want to know, Norm, I don't care about money. I don't care about money. I know you need it. But I wouldn't mind. I always say I want to build a life with someone. I wouldn't mind building a house or something. Or I want a man that makes me. I just had this conversation with my friend of mine that is a therapist, and he's a medicine man and a masseuse. I want intimacy and worthiness, because he's like, "What does worthy mean to you?" And for some reason, a bright white circle is the first thing I could think of. He goes, "Interesting, because worthy means." You're complete, like you're whole. And intimacy, he's like, think of it as like strings, you're like connected to each other. And I'm like, that's what I want. Because I always looked around at the world going, are these couples really happy, or this is a sad way to live? It's like a play of sort. You're just acting it out, but you want what you see in the movies. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, is there that nice guy that I'm shallow enough to think that is attractive? Because I'm kind of shallow. I just want a guy I can trust and walk around with my eyebrows off if I want, because they don't stay on always. Because I have to draw them. I'm
going to tell you about the concept of energy, and tell me if you agree with this. This is my belief system. Our bodies throw out energy. It's a measurable electromagnetic field. They have devices that can measure the energy that our bodies throw off, because all of our cells are comprised of energy. This is the government of our energy. So whatever this is doing, that's the energy we throw out, and we attract like energy, right? Okay. So if you find yourself surrounded by a bunch of assholes, you have to change your own energy, because that's what you're attracting, right? I didn't even know I was being an asshole. So the better version you become of yourself, the better, stronger, best version that you become, you'll put that energy out there and you'll attract that person that you want to attract.
That's what I figure. I'm like, somebody will think this is attractive. Because I'm like, and I joke about it, but I can see where it wouldn't be. Hey, I hope you're feeling up to the task of I got legal issues, mental issues, unemployed, homeless. I have kids, they're not yours, but they're going to probably poke fun of me. Like, really, Mom? Just block them out like I do. I don't know. I'm kind of immature and goofy.
Well,
it's a lot.
I think you're a powerhouse, my friend. Okay. You couldn't have made it this far. You've been on some rough roads, man.
I think it shocks Dave sometimes because he'll be like, man, it's just getting deep, isn't it? Like, he'll even be like, he's like, I'm running out of options for, different things for you. Because one time he goes, you have your paint by number, you have your crochet, you have your paint and the bird hat. I said, I did all of them. So it takes a lot to keep me entertained.
Well, keep pushing. Okay. I'm pulling for you. I think you have a lot to give to the world, and I do believe you will be in a position where your main mission will be helping others. Like that will be where you get off.
I enjoy it. I like being Stud's little mistress. Nice. That's on YouTube. You're welcome, Dave.
Awesome.
Sorry, I think it's funny.
Well, my friend Ruby, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. It takes a lot of courage to do that. You're going to be plugging in with a lot of people who've been through the same thing. You don't give up, right? I'm saying you don't. You're not. You are a fighter by nature. Yes.
But then other people are like, "Come on now."
Yeah. Well, listen to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that allowing me to do this.
Yeah. Awesome. My pleasure. You are a warrior, my friend. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Warrior Podcast. Remember, there's a warrior inside us all. See you at our next podcast. Thank you again, my friend.
Thank you.